There are lands born not to conquer the world through power or resources, but to move it through the soul. Israel in Palestine is one of them. No mighty rivers like the Amazon, no vast ocean like the Pacific, no oil fields stretching like Arabia. Yet this small piece of land holds the heart of more than half of humanity. This is the story of a land where every stone knows the name of God. Every road has once carried the footsteps of prophets, and every sunset is steeped in both faith and sorrow. Two peoples, one land, memories that cannot be erased. And a future still being written, sometimes in ink, sometimes in blood. If you're not in a hurry, join us on this journey, not as a tourist, but as someone searching for meaning between layers of time piled upon one another. There is a city that when you first see it from a distance, from the hilltop in the fading afternoon light, you will not believe it is a real city. White and golden domes rise from ancient sandstone, bathed in sunlight as though glowing from within. That is Jerusalem, and in that very moment you understand why millions of people have been willing to die to come here. Jerusalem has been destroyed twice, besieged 23 times, attacked 52 times, and captured and recaptured 44 times. Those numbers are not the history of a failed city. They are the chronicle of an immortal one. Because after all of that, Jerusalem still stands. Not just in stone and mortar, but in an invisible force that no army has ever been able to break. Wedged between the sun-scorched rocks of the Middle East, where desert dissolves into sky and the wind carries the breath of 1,000 centuries, Jerusalem does not rise like a metropolis. It emerges like a great unanswered question of humanity. You can walk from one end of the old city to the other in just a few hours, but to truly understand it, you need a lifetime. Because Jerusalem is not measured in kilometers, it is measured in the depth of the soul. This is the only point on the surface of the earth where three great religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all look toward and say, "This is our home." And that is precisely what makes Jerusalem the most sacred land, but also the most sorrowful in all of human history. Today, the sound of gunfire from the Gaza Strip still sometimes drifts in on the wind. Young soldiers stand guard at the city gates with tired but watchful eyes, and pilgrims continue to arrive because for them, no war is powerful enough to stop a person from coming to meet God. Stepping through the Jaffa Gate into the old city of Jerusalem is stepping through a gateway in time. The narrow roads are paved with stones worn smooth by millions of footsteps across the centuries. The walls are darkened by smoke and incense. Arabic, Hebrew, English, Armenian, Greek, all blending together like a piece of music that no one conducts but never falls into chaos. The old city is divided into 4 quarters, but to say divided is not quite right. They do not divide, they interweave like the massive roots of trees all clinging to the same stone. Walking deeper into the Jewish quarter, you feel a strange stillness, as though the space here is heavier than elsewhere, carrying the weight of memories that cannot be undone. Around 970 BCE, King Solomon, described in the scriptures as the wisest man who ever lived, commissioned a structure that his contemporaries called the 8th wonder of the world, the First Temple in Jerusalem. Not merely a work of architecture, this was the place where the Jewish people believed the presence of God actually dwelled among the living. In the innermost and most sacred room, only the high priest was permitted to enter, just once a year, and only after tying a rope around his ankle before going in, so that if he died from contact with absolute holiness, others could pull his body out without anyone else having to enter. In 586 BCE, the Babylonians came, and that temple was burned to the ground. The second temple was rebuilt and then destroyed again by the Romans in 70 CE. All that remains is a section of the Western Retaining Wall, the Western Wall, also known as the Wailing Wall. And something miraculous happens here every single day. People come from New York, from Tel Aviv, from Moscow, from tiny villages with no names on any map. And they stand before this wall of stone. They press their foreheads against it. They tuck small folded papers into the cracks, prayers, wishes, sorrows that cannot be spoken aloud. And they weep, not because they are weak, but because this is one of the rare places on earth where a human being is permitted to cry without having to explain themselves to anyone. If you want to understand Christianity, not through books, but through flesh and bone, come to Jerusalem. This is the city where Jesus walked, not in some distant legend, but on these very stone roads, the same roads your feet are touching right now. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is the heart of this quarter, a strangely composite structure, built, destroyed and rebuilt across the centuries by many different hands, so no single unified style exists. But it is precisely that layered complexity that gives it a strange beauty, as though history itself is written on the walls. Inside, the air is thick with frankincense and the sound of chanting from multiple denominations: Roman Catholic, Greek Orthodox, Armenian Orthodox, Coptic, all coexisting in a single space, sometimes in harmony, sometimes in tension, but no one leaves. Because what draws them here is stronger than any disagreement. The stone of anointing lies just inside the entrance, a long, reddish-orange slab where, according to tradition, the body of Jesus was laid down and anointed in preparation for burial. People kneel and place their hands upon it. They kiss the stone. They press personal objects, wedding rings, rosaries, holy images, against its surface as though trying to transfer some fragment of the sacred into them to carry back home. Via Dolorosa, the Way of Sorrows, a road less than 1 kilometre long, yet carrying the weight of all humanity. This is the path Jesus walked, carrying his cross from the place of judgment to the place of crucifixion, pausing 14 times, each pause called a station of the cross. Today, every Friday, groups of pilgrims from around the world carry wooden crosses and walk that same road, not out of ritual, but because they want, even for just a moment, to feel what the one they worship endured. And the night before all of that, in the Garden of Gethsemane, a small garden where 1,000-year-old olive trees still stand, he knelt alone in the darkness and prayed. According to the Gospel, his sweat fell like drops of blood, and his prayer was, "Take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours." That is the most human and most divine moment in all of Christian narrative. And that garden is still there, quiet and cool, its ancient olive trees confirmed by scientists to have lived since that very era. The Muslim quarter is the largest, most bustling and most vibrant of the four. The souk markets overflow with colour, red, orange, yellow spices heaped in burlap sacks, embroidered carpets hanging along narrow passageways, vendors calling out in 3 languages at once. Atop the Temple Mount, the most politically sensitive piece of ground on the entire planet, stands the Dome of the Rock. Its radiant golden dome reflects sunlight from kilometers away, like a lighthouse placed not on a shore, but atop the sky. Inside, a bare rock protrudes from the floor, surrounded by marble columns and dazzling mosaic tilework. According to Islamic tradition, it was from this very rock, on one mysterious night, that the Prophet Muhammad was received by the angel Gabriel, carried up through the heavens, through 7 celestial tiers, to meet God directly, and received back the commandments of prayer. That journey is called Isra and Miraj, and it is not merely legend for Muslims, it is one of the foundations of their faith. Beside it stands Al-Aqsa Mosque, the largest mosque in Jerusalem, where thousands of Muslims pray every week. In recent years, tensions over access to the Temple Mount have repeatedly erupted into violence. The images of protesters and security forces facing one another directly beneath that golden dome, perhaps the most tragic symbol of the entire conflict. Beauty and anguish, side by side, inseparable. The Armenians came to Jerusalem in the 4th century, shortly after Armenia became the first nation in the world to officially adopt Christianity as its state religion. They came as pilgrims and stayed. Through conquests, through the genocide of 1915 that killed more than 1 million of their people, through countless changes of power over the city, the Armenian community in Jerusalem remained. Walking into this quarter, you feel the outside world suddenly go silent. From somewhere comes the sound of chanting, not Hebrew, not Arabic, but ancient Armenian, a language few people in the world still speak, yet one that still rises every day in these small monasteries, like a reminder that some flames cannot be extinguished by any historical wind. In a city where everything is loud and grand, where every religion, every people asserts itself with a strong voice, the Armenians here choose silence. And paradoxically, it is that very silence that tells the deepest story. Leaving the old city, crossing the Kidron Valley, you arrive at the Mount of Olives, and this is where you truly need to stop. Not for what you will see, though the view from here across the old city of Jerusalem is one of the most breathtaking vistas in the Middle East, but for what you will feel. This mountain is like a convergence point of 3 civilizations, 3 faiths, 3 ways of understanding death and what comes after, all looking in the same direction. For the Jewish people, this is their oldest and most sacred cemetery, where more than 150,000 people are buried, all facing Jerusalem. Because according to their belief, when the Messiah arrives at the end of days, he will come from the east, through the Mount of Olives, entering Jerusalem through the Golden Gate. And those buried here will be the first to be resurrected. This is not merely a cemetery, it is a waiting list for the apocalypse. People pay tens of thousands of dollars for a burial plot on this mountain. For Christians, the Mount of Olives is bound to one of the most poignant final moments in the Gospels. In the Garden of Gethsemane, at the foot of the mountain, Jesus prayed through his last nights before his arrest, and at the summit he ascended to heaven, rising into the sky while his disciples watched, until a cloud hid him from sight. Today, the small chapel of the Ascension marks that spot, and there, protected beneath a pane of glass, is an impression in stone said to be his final footprint on this earth. For Muslims, the Mount of Olives is where the final judgment will take place. According to tradition, a bridge thinner than a hair and sharper than a blade will stretch from here across the Kidron Valley to the temple. The righteous will cross, the sinful will fall. And for this reason, Muslims also bury their loved ones at the foot of this mountain, hoping they will be among the first to set foot upon that bridge. Three faiths, three stories about the same mountain, and remarkably, all three stories end with a single word: hope. Just 9 kilometers south of Jerusalem, but politically, Bethlehem belongs to the West Bank, Palestinian territory. To get here from Jerusalem, you must pass through a checkpoint. Young soldiers, rifles on their shoulders, check your documents. Long queues of waiting people. And you suddenly realize this is not an ordinary journey. Bethlehem is a city that carries within itself the most heartbreaking contradiction in the world. On one side, the Church of the Nativity, the oldest Christian structure still in continuous use on the entire planet, built in the 4th century by order of Emperor Constantine. To step inside, you must bow your head. The entrance was deliberately built low, forcing everyone, whether emperor or beggar, to humble themselves. Down beneath the main altar, descending cold stone steps, in a small grotto illuminated by dozens of oil lamps, is a 14-pointed silver star set into the stone floor, inscribed in Latin, Hic de Virgine Maria, Jesus Christus natus est. Here, Jesus Christ was born of the Virgin Mary. You kneel, you place your hand upon the star, and in that moment, whether you are Christian or not, you feel the weight of 2,000 years of faith pressing down upon your palm. But stepping out of the church, you are confronted with the other side of Bethlehem. The separation wall, 8 meters high, cold grey concrete, running along the city's streets like an unhealing wound. It does not merely divide land, it divides families, livelihoods, hope. The people of Bethlehem see this wall from their windows every single morning when they wake up. Families separated for years. Children who have never seen their grandparents on the other side. A city of faith, living in the shadow of concrete. And then Banksy came, the mysterious British artist whose face no one has ever seen, transformed that wall of death into the largest open-air art gallery in the world. A little girl lifted over the wall by balloons, a soldier being frisked by a child, a peace dove wearing a bulletproof vest. Each painting is a question without an answer, or more precisely, a question whose answer must be found by each of us ourselves. Banksy even opened a hotel right beside the walled-off hotel, with its sardonic tagline, "The worst view in the world." And it is also one of the most booked hotels in Palestine. Because sometimes, art is the only language left when every other language has failed.